It's week 12 of the golfing year, and Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, well, they're a little bit worn out. But no sympathy here. Nick's been playing Tara Iti in New Zealand, and Mark's been commentating the National at Cape Schanck. As I say, no sympathy. We're live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of Golf Australia and the PGA of Australia, and we're here thanks to the team at Ping. They'll help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping club fitting. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Okay, let's hook in. Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, this is the #1 Australian golf podcast, Talk Birdie to Me.
So I don't see a Tara Iti hat. I don't see a Tara Iti shirt. You've got a water bottle that's just a dopey-looking orange one. Did you actually buy anything in the pro shop or not? What about my hat? I thought you'd do something for me. Oh, nice to see you.
Good morning, mate. Lovely to see you too. Hey, we know this is a Ping show, you know, Ping Global Results. I've got to represent the brand.
Yes, I understand.
So, yeah, we did buy plenty from the pro shop. It was a lot of fun.
Did
obviously, one of those experiences. You know how you probably look back on your life and you go, what are my top 5 best experiences or trips? And this one is right in there.
So how many times did you play Tara Iti? Last week you told us about Te Arai, North and South. But how many times? And did you win the member guest? Did Nick O'Hearn win the member guest?
Nick O'Hearn wasn't playing.
Oh, okay.
Nick O'Hearn was, and no, we didn't win the member guest, but we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, now how do they do it? How do they do their member guests? Yeah. Sometimes it's just 2 rounds and, it's a best ball followed by an Ambrose over there, but how do they do it?
So on the women's member guest, Alana, she was playing with our friend Anne Robertson. I was playing with Mark Robertson.
Yeah.
They're both members over there. So they played a 2-day, 18 holes each day, better ball, Stableford.
Right.
And the winner of each flight, because they have 6 or 7 different flights based on handicaps, they go through to the shootout, and then it's an elimination in the shootout.
Oh, that's a good
and
one.
The shootout's alternate shot, so that's a bit of pressure in those ones.
The shootout is alternate shot.
Shots.
Foursomes. Wow.
Yes. So, and then on the men's side, what we do is we play 5 9-hole matches or match play against other players in your flight. So Mark and I we were in the top flight, and to Mark's credit, so what happened was the rule that they have over there is the handicap can only be a 10-shot difference between the 2 partners. Now I play off +2, Mark is off a 16, so he had to come down to an 8 handicap. And I said to Mark, Mark, you've always wanted to be a single-figure handicapper. So guess what? This week you are, and I tell you, he played like a single-figure handicapper. Great. He did wonderfully. Unfortunately, the first 4 matches, I played okay and pretty bad, and then some good. I was a bit all over the shop, haven't practiced, as you know, but had a lot of fun. We were 0-4 in our matches, the first 4. But you know what? We came home strong. We won that 5th match, and I said to Mark, no one beats O'Hearn Robertson 5 times in a row.
Very nice. Yeah, I love
That's the famous Vetus Gerolitis line, if you remember that.
Yeah, who was it? Who was it? Jimmy Connors?
I think it was Jimmy Connors.
No one beats Vetus Gerolitis 17 times in a row. Yeah, magnificent.
Yeah. But the whole facility, so we played Te Arai North and South, and the genius of what they do there is it's obviously a members club, but each day they open one of the courses up to the public. So the North is for the members one day, South is for the public. Following day, it goes the other way.
So
every day it rotates. It is a brilliant system they have. And the other thing over at Te Arai is they have a restaurant there called Rick's, after Rick Kane, who's the founder of the whole setup over there of Tara Iti and Te Arai.
I've heard about this putting
along
green.
With a few other guys.
Is that what you're about to tell me about?
Yes.
Yeah, go and tell me.
The playground. It's about a 2-acre, I think. Putting green is what they call it.
2 acres?
It is massive. I mean, we have the Himalayas out here in front of golf headquarters.
Yeah.
It's 4 times the size, 5 times the size of that, I would imagine. I don't know.
Right.
And the best thing about it is all the people, the restaurant there is open to the public, so anyone can come in and eat. And it's kind of like it has a bit of a big barn feel to it. It's magnificent with these long benches. The food is unbelievable. The wine is to die for. I can tell you I've overeaten and overdrank the entire week. But they open it up for the public, so the parents are up there sitting there having a beverage, and the kids are all running around doing whatever they want on the putting green, whacking balls all the way. And the smart thing is around the putting green, if they've got these little stands where you can put your drink.
Oh, so good.
So your beer, your wine, your soft drink, whatever it is, while you have a putt.
Free to play?
free to play.
Now, that's the best bit. You want to get kids in the golf. This is how you do it. Make it easy. Make it easy for parents to get their kids in the golf.
But the North Course at Te Arai is a Tom Doak.
Yep.
Sort of runs inland a little. You get a few holes on the ocean. And then the South Course is a Core Crenshaw and one of the most enjoyable golf courses I've ever played. It is magnificent. A little easier than the North. The North is tougher, only opened recently.
Right, I cut you to
And
chase.
then
Tara
Tara
Iti.
Iti, Tom Doak course on some of the best land you'll ever see along the water there. Every hole basically has a view of the water, and it's tough. It was firm. It was fiery. The wind, when it got up, it made it very, very interesting. If the wind lays low like a typical links seaside course, then it's gettable. But when the wind blows, I mean, I had so much fun. I was hitting 120-metre 4-irons and things like that, little bump and runs along the ground, and then you'd have 180 metres going the other way and you'd hit a little 9-iron in there. So much fun. The members were incredible. And it's hard to explain this, but I think one of the best things about these venues, although there aren't these types of venues anywhere really, is when you get there and you ask someone at the club for something or can they do something, you know what the answer is?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's never, well, maybe I'll have
Let me go check with the manager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's whatever you'd like, we'll do it for you. And the service there is second to none. It was incredible. And thanks to David Pfister, the Director of Golf, Matt, the GM, and all the members that welcomed us so much. We had an absolute blast. And it's one of those trips I'll remember for a lifetime.
Well, because you've made me really, really jealous. I've actually, my top 5 a little bit later is the top 5 golf courses I've got to go and play.
Oh, I like that. Well, if that's not on your list, there's something wrong.
There's definitely going to be on the list. Now, last question on it.
Yeah.
A lot of people I trust who go over there, they tell me it's in the top handful of golf courses in the world. Mm-hmm. Now, are you going that far with Tara Iti?
Each time I played it, the first time I looked at it, I saw it. It's a very nuanced golf course, and the thing I love about it is it changes every time you play it because the weather can change, the wind comes in, the rain, the pin positions, there's so many different pins on the greens, and every time I played it, I fell more and more in love with it, so that's a sign of a great course. I need to play it a bit more, but my first impressions is, yes, it is up there with some of the best in the world.
A lot of people say that about Royal Melbourne, and a lot of people say exactly the same thing about the old course at St Andrews. You just need to keep on. The more you play them, the more you love them.
Yeah, the first time I saw St Andrews, I thought, oh yeah, this looks interesting, and then you go around, you go, okay, yeah, I can see what he's trying to do, and then the next day you go, oh, I've got to hit it over there. Well, that's interesting, and obviously that's my favourite in the world.
Yeah, the wind changes the next day, and then all of a sudden there's a different golf course. Yeah, so I've got to get over there. That is for sure.
I do have some Tara Iti memorabilia. Don't worry.
Yeah, good. Did you get me a hat or not?
Next time, mate.
I'm not sure whether you got to see the Players' Championship, Nick, but it never disappoints.
I did. Yep.
It never ever disappoints. I reckon there are two tournaments, that there is just drama. I reckon the Open Championship, it's just pure golf. It's the way the game was supposed to be played. The open rotation golf courses are fabulous, but for tournaments with drama, with tournaments that make you get out of your chair, there are 2, and they are played in March and April. And the Players' Championship, even though they had some soft greens this week, apparently they've had a lot of rain in Florida, and the fairways weren't really running. But my God, to see Scheffler shoot a 64, and to me, he looks like he's playing with ice skates on. To watch him play and to see him putt with a new putter, and we used this term actually during the weekend at the national tournament. He's right in the middle of a honeymoon period with a new putter.
They're right.
That's what happens. There is a honeymoon period a lot of the time when you get a brand new putter.
Mm-hmm.
But to see the difference in technique when you're in the middle of a honeymoon period, the anxiety has gone from his stroke. He's not using the line anymore on top of the ball.
Saw that.
Yeah. So he's doing a few things like that, and you can just see the change. Now, how long the honeymoon period lasts until he starts going back into old habits, we don't know. But then you throw into the mix, Wyndham Clark, who couldn't get past him at Bay Hill the week before. And then Scheffler,
Scheffler.
Thank you. Scheffler. So
I knew you were going to get confused when I saw the leaderboard as Scheffler and Scheffler. Thought, oh, Mark's done.
And then Ricky Ponting in there, little left-handed Ricky Ponting, Brian Harmon.
He's painful to watch, though.
Oh, my God, he's painful to watch. But, geez, can he play some of the shots he was hitting. And then, I was flicking from channel to channel, because I do enjoy watching the island hole. So I was going from 505 to 503 because, I wanted to see Aberg come through and a few others. But they kept on saying that nobody has hit it close to this hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then both players, Scheffler and Wyndham Clark, they both birdied 16. Wyndham Clark hit to 11 feet, the best shot of the day, and how his putt didn't go in, I'll never know for eagle. But to see them both hit the best shots of the day when it was required on that hole, that was fabulous. And then the job's still not done, Wyndham Clark birdies that hole. Scheffler was already at 19 under par. And then they have to stand on the 18th tee. Now, I've played that golf course. It's one of the golf courses I've played. And I always tell people that it's the best Queensland golf course you'll ever see, ever. That's how I describe it. It's just a fantastic place to play golf. If you like that style of green and, that's that style of golf, it's the best. But I stood on that 18th tee with, a few old people who were coming to Augusta, and I was nervous as hell. So, what's it like standing on that tee?
Horrible.
When you need something to happen, especially for a lefty. It's the wrong shape for a lefty.
Well, I'm over the ball, and all I can see, in my peripheral vision is the water there, obviously. But to your point with the golf course and the drama it builds, it was built for this purpose. I mean, it is stadium golf at its finest, and it's the best example of the PGA Tour's product that they want to display. That's why they're trying to call it the fifth major. I mean, it will probably never get to that status, but it is held, in very, very high regard amongst all the players, especially the Americans. Other than the majors, what tournament you want to win? Well, you want to win the Players. For me, it's the Australian Open. I'm sure it's the same for you. It's the National Open.
I wanted to win the Australian Open or the Australian Masters. I would have loved.
But after you hit that tee shot on 16 on the par 5 and you come around the corner and then you see everything in front of you, what's about to happen, you really have to pucker up. I mean, that's probably the best way to explain it, because it's such a tough second shot into 16 if you're able to go for the green. And the walk from the 16th to the 17th is one of the toughest walks in golf, because you're trying not to look at that island green. You're just you're walking along going, just breathe, just relax. And I think I mentioned a while ago that when I first played the practice round there, I got to that 17th tee and I looked up and I thought, no problem. It's only a wedge, 9-9, boom, on the green. First round of the tournament, the following day, I've gone, okay, who shrank the green? Someone's come along here and made this green smaller. All of a sudden, it looked like it was moving in the water because it was a windy day and the waves were flickering. And you go, how the heck am I going to hit this? And
you never hit it in the water.
And I've never hit it. No, I never did. So I was pretty. I don't know how many players championship. I probably played 5 or 6 or something. But
I think the record at the moment is 41 or 42. That's what they were saying.
Really? I saw through the coverage they had 25 times in a row. It hasn't hit in the water. Guess what? It was straight in the drink. But it's such a hard finish, especially on a Friday when you're trying to make the cut, if you got to go par, or late in the tournament. I never contended at the Players. Middle of the field was probably the best I did. But even when you're middle of the field, you get to that 17th and you almost want it to be over. And for me, it really forced me to focus on my mental game and really be strong in that department. So I was able to handle that okay. Other players, they struggle with it. I watched Scheffler those last couple of holes, and he looked like he was just having a walk in the park. I mean, that's the difference between this guy and everyone else right now. And the scary thing is he ranked 37th in strokes gained putting. 37th, and he won the golf tournament. He led the field in every other category, normally does. Last week at Bay Hill, he was 5th in strokes putting. So when he putts, well or half decent, I mean, he was middle of the field, right, with the guys who made the cut, and he won the golf tournament. And you spoke about his putting before. You're right, he looks a bit freer, a bit looser. He's reacting a bit more. I still think there's some tweaks in the setup. For me, because I've been looking at it thinking, what is it that I don't like about what's going on here? He's twisted. His lower body and his upper body are twisted. His shoulders are closed, and his feet are closed and his shoulders are open. best putters I've ever played with, it's the opposite. The feet are slightly open and the shoulders are not closed, but they're square.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe slightly open, but they're certainly more squarer than the feet.
Yes.
Feet are always open in the best putters in the world. You look at Jack, you look at Ben Crenshaw.
When Greg Norman was absolutely flying with the putter, he was open.
When he set it up in the toe, remember that?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and he had a Ben Crenshaw style open stance going.
Correct.
And put it in the toe and then looped it to the middle. Yeah, he was a great putter when he was going. He was amazing.
I should do that on my masterclass, but I'm not. I'm doing something else of Scheffler's, so we'll talk about that later. But this guy, I mean, he looks like John Rahm now, by the way, with the beard.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching Rahm for a while there.
He does.
But the finish to that golf tournament and all the water and the drama, and they showed the drone shots, it is so unique, and it was one of the great advertisements for the PGA Tour. I mean, they'd struggled the previous few weeks with the field and the finishes and things like that, but this one sets the stage.
Yeah, a lot of people in the Wyndham Clark about the ball moving slightly last week, and our man Stewie, our rules official, Stewie McPhee, sent us a nice email explaining it, and he seemed to think that the ball moved, but there is a camera sort of rule where if it's if you need a camera to see it move, then it's deemed not to have moved. Stuart, I apologise if I've got that wrong, but a lot of people suggesting there's a bit of karma in play with the horseshoe on the 72nd hole. But I want to talk about his third round a little bit. I mean, he didn't come with his best stuff on the third round. He did in the water on 12, trying to go for the green, got up and down for par. He did in the water on 17.
That was the shot that cost him.
Yeah. Hit in the water on 17 and didn't miss by a little bit. I mean, it was a full-on chunk. And because the pin was front left, the drop zone's no good to you when the pin's front left. So he hit again from the same spot and made a 2 with his second ball, which is a 4. Did
you see what he said about his caddy there,
no.
John Ellis? So he said, I don't want to throw my caddy under the bus, but my caddy said hit a full sand iron and take a little bit off it or something like that. Yeah. He thought it was a flat-out sand iron. The caddy thought to take a bit off. So he threw his caddy under the bus because he got to the top of the backswing and thought, "Oh, take a bit off," and he decelled and chunked it. So
decelling's never
that's where commitment is so important in this game.
Yeah, you got to make it. That's right. Well, it's a good point. You might as well say you got to make up your mind before you get to the top of the backswing. That's a really important part of golf.
It helps. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm becoming a fan of Wyndham Clark and the way that he plays. He's so strong and. I don't know. I think full swing has kind of added to it, watching him talk about his sports psychologist and the way that he's been using that and getting through.
So you've watched Full Swing? I haven't seen it yet.
Haven't you? Yeah, no, I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
I'm not racing for 4, 5 and 6, but I think, the footy started, so it's kind of getting my spare time at the moment. But I'll get there. I'll watch the rest. I wasn't wrapped with, just while we're on Full Swing, wasn't very wrapped with JT throwing Mito Pereira under the bus.
I did see a clip of that. Yeah.
At the PGA Champions dinner. I thought that was a little classless.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Well, it depends on.
He was trying to be funny. I get it.
Yeah, it depends on the moment. I think in the moment it was probably a little funny thing, and they all laughed. But when you separate it, then it doesn't look very good.
Yeah, I reckon. I'm not going to hang the bloke or anything. Yeah. I love the way he plays, but I reckon. If you had your time over again, you knew that was going to go to air. Maybe that's one of those little things you say in private conversations. Have a little joke around with whoever is at that dinner and say, a big thanks to Mito for making it all possible. But in the speech, I don't know, maybe Full Swing threw him under the bus a bit. Maybe he didn't expect that was going to be highlighted.
Well, the cameras are always on, just remember that. And the microphone's always on, and you know that better than most.
So they tell me.
It's like these people in reality TV. You can't complain about what they pull out and put in the promo. If you say it on camera, you got to suck it up.
Yeah, exactly. Now, back to the players, Mark. I was reading a little bit about it afterwards, and Evan Priest, who's the journo over there, he mentioned something. I thought, you know what, that's a great idea. He said this tournament should be the last event of the year. Make it the Tour Championship. What do you think about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I think. But I don't think it'll ever happen because they still have dreams of it becoming the 5th major.
Yeah, but they need to realise that's
not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, no. I don't think so.
No.
Well, it's funny, when you go back and, because once upon a time, the 4 majors were the US Amateur, the British Amateur, the US Open, and the British Open. So that happened. And I know the story to this. So in 1960... when they were coming into the Masters at the start of the year, the major figures in the golf world press, they just got together and said, okay, let's fix this situation. right? And they said, okay, the Masters, the ones we know today, the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and the PGA Championship. The PGA Championship was probably a major for a little bit longer than the Masters. But it wasn't until 1960 that the US Masters was declared a major.
Really?
Arnold Palmer won that year. Arnold Palmer won in 58, 60, 62 and 64 every second year. So in 1960, magically, anybody who'd won the Masters before 1960 got a major next to their name. So I reckon probably they're hoping for one day. I mean, the ladies have got 5 majors. I don't think that if the Players' Championship was in Australia, it would already be a major. I just don't think you can have 4 majors in one country.
4 of the 5, yeah.
No, I don't think that's right. And while we're on the topic of majors, the US PGA, honestly, let's just call it the PGA. There are PGAs all over the world, everywhere. If they just did it every 3 years, played it in Japan, played it in Australia, May's a pretty friendly time for Australia. You could, I think maybe the Victorian courses would be coming into their dormancy, but I reckon you could juice that up for a PGA and maybe make it a par 70 or a 71 and really make it a difficult one. But in May, the Australian is near its best. And if they were going to do it, I think May's, now that it's not in August, it's been moved to May.
Then you'd need to probably try and get another tournament in the Southern Hemisphere around it, things like that. I mean, that's the whole global tour talk, isn't it?
That's right. But it would be a dream. It would be a dream for the rest of the world.
For sure.
For the rest of the world, if that PGA Championship could be moved around every 3 yees or every second year. Yeah. Every second year would be great. So it goes back to a classical golf club that's hosted PGAs in the past. Is that Valhalla this year, by the way?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Tiger beat Bob May there back in 2000.
That's remember. Right. Yeah, it was very hot back in those days.
Kenny Perry, did he have a chance to win around there, or he won? No, he didn't win a major, did he, Kenny? But anyway.
But that's in May.
What happened to Rory at the Players, by the way?
I just played average.
Did he?
Yeah, just had an average week.
Oh, right.
No big deal. He played okay.
A lot of balls in the water, I heard.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, there was a bit. The Aussies went okay.
Yeah.
Aberg played disappointingly in the second round, but he's going to win that thing. I'm going to repeat: if you haven't got money on Ludwig Aberg to win a major this year or the Masters or something, I think he's very, very good.
It's funny, each tournament brings back memories for me of my life on tour. I mean, last week it was Bay Hill and the DQ with John Daly. Yeah. I just remembered this one, we rented a house near the course and we flooded the house.
What happened?
Well, it was a 2-story house, and my coach was over, and I had my parents as well, and the whole family got the kids and everything. We're all staying upstairs, and the toilet upstairs got flushed at night, and I think they must have had a bit of faulty plumbing up there or something. There was a certain way to flush it, and anyway, everyone went back to bed, and woke up in the morning and hearing this dripping and going, what the heck? And you walk out onto the balcony there and the carpet's wet and then it's dripping through, the whole bottom floor's wet. Oh my gosh, I don't think we got our security deposit back that week.
I'm enjoying these little stories every week.
Oh, they're fantastic.
There's plenty of them, don't worry.
Hey, you mentioned Aberg. Have you seen his ranking at the moment?
Yeah, he's top 10 in the world.
Top 10?
Yeah.
He's gone from like 400 to 10 in 8 months or something ridiculous.
So he's played a Ryder Cup. He's won in America. He's won in Europe, and he still hasn't played in the major. I mean, that'll never, ever happen again.
And he's top 10 in the world.
He's top 10 in the world and hasn't played in the major.
Extraordinary.
He's an extraordinary player. And the more I watch him play, the freedom of the golf swing, it doesn't. They actually made the point, the commentary, that his body doesn't look stressed in any way.
Yeah, it's
not in any way.
It's so repetitive. His angle's maintained, but he doesn't look as though he's really bent over or stuck. He just seems tall the whole way through the swing, and that's a great sign. Yeah,
they call him, some of the players who play with him, just a tall Rory, because he just drives the ball that well. We're talking about major championships. Driving is a big part of it. Just getting yourself. I mean, it's like playing from the forward tees. you think yourself, if you play in the Wednesday comp and you normally play from the members' tees, imagine playing from those forward tees. It just helps you. And that's basically the advantage that the best drivers in the world have got.
For sure. And he sounds as though he's in that little Scheffler mould where if he putts well, he's going to be up there in the top 2 or 3 by the sounds of it every week, because that may be his slight weakness if he does have one. So just work. Maybe he needs a mallet.
Yeah, that's right. He just needs a little honeymoon. He needs a nice little honeymoon coming up. Big thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. You see my shirt today? I'm just going over there.
Well done.
When I leave here, I'm going over to do some more TikTok commercials or wherever.
Oh, good on you.
Right. So I'm over there to do it. But Sam Colosimo, thanks again for the support. It's fabulous. Ping, we'll get to those Ping Global results very, very soon. I saw a lot of players with Ping hats on this week, as it turns out. And also a big thank you to the ability to do this podcast every single week from Australian Golf Headquarters. We appreciate it.
Top 5 next. What's it on, Mark?
The top 5 golf courses I've got to play. It's all about me.
No, it's all about me.
It's
always all about you.
Thanks to Ping, they'll help you play your best. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, who search the globe for golf's best deals. This is Talk Birdie to Me. Now back to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Okay, your head's still up there in the clouds and Tara Iti. You want to keep going with the show, or you just in dream world?
I'm just reminiscing. I mean, it was such an amazing trip, and it's funny during those trips you bump into people that you go, oh, I know you, and you recognise them, and it was weird. Yesterday, after the tournament had finished, we had breakfast up at Tara Iti with our friends, and bumped into Rob Sitch. He's a ripping bloke, and you know what? You know what he said to me? He says, I love your podcast. Listen to it every week. I'm addicted to it, which is awesome.
Was he being sarcastic?
Well, that's what I thought, but I think he was pretty genuine. And he was playing with he was just there, actually. He didn't play the member guest. He was there with another buddy who's a Cathedral member, Peter Anderson. So anyway, they were up there playing a bit of golf. Saw Andy Lee. He was playing.
I knew he was playing.
He is addicted to the game. And you know what I thought about? Because when they had this big men's shootout at the end, they have... I don't know, I think that's 7 or 8 groups playing off one tee, and then it's alternate shot. Yeah. With so many players, you're actually not quite sure what's going on. I thought of an idea for them. I might put this in a suggestion box, or maybe if they listen to the pod, get someone like Andy Lee with a speaker to commentate it. I think that would be phenomenal. He would be awesome at it. And the other guy I saw her had played a bit of golf with was Kelly Slater was there.
Kelly Slater was there? You're kidding me?
Yeah, I played with him at Cyprus years ago, and he's a good golfer. Very good.
You're just moving and shaking, aren't
you?
Well,
Rob Stitch, if you listen to this podcast, Frontline, greatest show ever made.
Oh, so good.
Ever made.
Hey, mate, you know it's Sitch, not Stitch, right?
Are you sure?
Positive.
I'm pretty sure it's Rob Stitch.
I'm very, very positive that you are completely incorrect, Mark.
I'll look it up.
You don't need to bother looking it up.
I'll look it up.
Rob Stitch's name is
either of you.
Sitch.
Mate, I've been watching Frontline for a long time.
It's a great... God, he's a funny man, isn't he? Have you seen Utopia, by the way?
Yeah.
No. Now I'm going to have to.
Yeah. Oh, Utopia is so good.
Mate, just so easy to watch as well. Okay, time for this week's Top 5.
Top 5.
And selfishly, it's all about me. Okay, I am very jealous of you playing Tara Iti, so I've got to work at looking at the top 5 golf courses I've somehow got to play. So, at number 5, apologies to North Berwick and apologies to 7 Mile Beach. That's getting done right now, because I think those two are going to be on my list for a long time. Carbo Cliffs. Just the pictures look unbelievable. I know some people have gone there. It's not like there's a golf course in New Zealand that looks like it's on a calendar. What's that one called? Cape Kidnappers.
Oh, those photos.
Yeah, the photos are unbelievable. I know a few people have played it and said, it's not bad.
Really?
But I know a few people have played Carbo Cliffs as well, and they go, it's unbelievable.
Photos of kidnappers look photoshopped.
Yeah, they do.
That's how good the photos are.
It looks like one of those old golf calendars, the crazy holes. That's what it looks like. At number 4, Royal County Down.
Ooh, yeah, that's
I've
on my
never
list.
played golf in Ireland. Some top 100 golf course lists have this as number 1. Others don't. But I want to go and play Royal County Down. Yeah. Number 3, Tara Iti. The golf course where someone forgot to bring back a hat.
No, I didn't.
So rude.
No, I didn't forget.
At number 2, I want to play Augusta. I know it's cliched. I don't care. I want to go there and play the golf course.
Yep.
I had my chance when I was working for Channel 9 all those years ago. I went to a party instead.
The first time I went to Augusta, I actually didn't play the course. As in, I was playing the tournament. I got there on a Saturday, the weekend before. It's only the members that are out there. It was late in the day. We just arrived.
Yeah.
And all I did was I walked to the 10th tee and I walked the back 9. I just had to see it. I had to see it. I didn't actually play it the first time I walked around it. And it was the most incredible experience. My favourite spot was the 12th green, 13th tee, because you can't get over there unless you're playing.
Yeah, there you go. I remember the first time I saw it, I was playing the Nike Tour, which is the Corn Ferry Tour back in 1994. I was based in Dallas. I had a week off, so I had to chase where the next tournament was. Anyway, no Apple CarPlay back in those days, so I get the map out. I'm going from Dallas to some joint in North Carolina, and I do the finger along the map of and Augusta is on the way, Augusta, Georgia. So I jump in the car the next day.
Did you try and sweet your talk?
And yes, I went. I got there to, I think it's called Washington Road or Washington Highway, whatever the road is.
Drive.
Washington Drive, whatever it is. And it's it's a very obscure little entrance. It's not a big deal. I was expecting something grand.
Yeah, you see the water tower as you're driving up, and they got what are they called? The Pinkerton guards.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to the front and I said, "Hey, mate," and I had my Nike Tour card ready to show him. I said, "Mate, I'm from Australia." And I went through the whole spiel, and this guy at the front goes, "You didn't really think you're going to get in here, did you?" Like that. Anyway, it was dusk, and I took my rent-a-car, and I just started driving around, trying to, look at one stage. I must have been around the 4th or the 5th hole, and I was standing on the top of the car looking in, and because it was the middle of summer, they actually had little tents on every green because it's a winter-only golf course. Once summer comes, they shut the joint down. It's too hot. And the locals, by the way, there's only 1 week of the year the locals call it Augusta, and that is Masters Week. For the other 51 weeks, the locals call Augusta Disgusta because it is so hot, so dirty, not much of a joint.
Wow.
Anyway, I was amazed that they had these tents over every single green. Anyway, that's the first time I saw the joint.
You said a moment ago you could have played Augusta, but you went to a party instead.
Yeah.
Now, you have told this story before, but for people who haven't heard it, you can't just drop that line and not explain what it means.
Righto. So I was on the Channel 9 commentary team.
Part of the media pool. Is that what it was?
Well, listen to this. I was on the Channel 9 commentary team, and Gary Burns was the head of Channel 9 Sport at the time. So it's a better story. So apparently the year before, Kenny Sutcliffe called Ben Hogan's bridge Tom Hogan's bridge. Anyway,
he didn't call
Kerry
it Paul.
Packer, the late Kerry Packer, said, "Well, that's it. That's the end of you, Kenny. You're not back on the plane." So I had just started working on 3AW as I was just the golf correspondent. Ian Johnson used to listen to 3AW. He goes, "I've got the person for you." So I had to go up to Channel 9 to do a rehearsal to try out for this spot. I get up there and they want me to do a piece of the camera. Now, I've only ever done little radio bits. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I get in front of the camera and they go, "Okay, you got to pretend that Greg Norman's coming from behind and blah, blah, blah." I go, "Okay. Well, I can't wait for the day. Greg Norman's an exciting player and, it's the exciting golf that he plays. And wouldn't it be exciting if..." And they stopped it. And they said, "Hey, listen.
How many times do you want to say exciting?"
You got to use your vocabulary, okay? You can't just say the same thing over and over." Anyway, he goes, "Let me just get somebody down from upstairs and they can help you." And he just sit over here. I sat over there and the guy comes up and he goes, "It was Richie Benno." So Richie Benno was there and now he's charged with teaching me how to do a piece of camera. So it was very surreal, the whole thing. Anyway, I finally did one that was half decent. Then they had to send that cassette up to Kerry. He was upstairs, and Kerry Packer had to tick me off. Anyway, 15 minutes later, it was all ticked off. And I was on a plane 2 weeks later to go over. Anyway, first week I was a little bit nervous. First day I was a little bit nervous. Round 2, I pretty much had this commentating gig. It was pretty easy after that. Round 3, Gary Burns came up to me and he said, "Hey, listen, we really like what you're doing. We want you to be our golf commentator." He goes, most of the media go into the draw, but because we pay for the rights, we get a spot on Monday. We want you to play." And I hadn't brought my clubs. It was a really wet year. That year was so wet. And I said, oh, fantastic. I'll play. Beautiful. I called my friends in Dallas, and because I was going to stop in Dallas on the way home. And they said, no, you can't play. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, mate, we've got a reunion for you. Everyone's flying in from all over the place. So then I've got to go back to Gary Burns and say, Gary, this is the story, right? This is the story.
And he's going, are you serious?
He's gone. He was completely the opposite. He goes, mate, don't worry about a thing. He goes, bring your golf shoes, bring your clubs next year. You've got that Monday spot. Beautiful. Anyway, so I call him back, go to the party on the Monday. It's a great party. Next year rolls around. Gary Burns got the sack at Christmas. Next year rolls around. There's a new Gary in place. I've called him going, this is the deal, mate. This is the deal. He goes, yeah, you're right. 2 weeks before Augusta, the Iraqi war breaks out. Got a phone call saying, listen, mate, we're just sending a skeleton crew. We're just going to take the feed. We're putting all our resources into this. So my one chance to play Augusta was blown because I went to a party.
That might be the longest story I've ever heard for a non-golfing event.
I apologise. I apologise. So Augusta at number 2 and my number 1, Pine Valley. I want to play the number 1 golf course in the world, so I'll get there at some stage.
As do I.
Sorry about the long top 5.
No, that was good.
It was very funny.
Can we just quickly talk about the national tournament? A terrific season ender, and well done to Cameron John, who really hung in there. But I want to say well done for the season. It was very, very good. The season was fabulous. New winners, Kazuma Kazumori, just everything they did matched up well for where this tour is headed. And some fabulous news too at the end of the broadcast that we did on Fox Sports. Nick Dasty came out and said next year's going to be bigger and better than ever. So
more tournaments,
more tournaments. Fingers crossed, more money for the players. So it's all headed in the right direction. So well done to the PGA and PGA TV and Jam TV. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk about golf. We love it, you and I, Nick, and well done to Stacey Peters and Jimmy Emanuel and everybody else. It was just great.
That's a great lead into the Ping Global results. Nick, you ready to go?
Okay, I'm ready. Events going on around the world this past week. The main one was at Tara Iti, but I will go through some of the others.
Yeah, please.
I'm not going to go through ours, actually. The Players' Championship, obviously. Scotty Scheffler with a sore neck, mind you. Yeah. Did you see that? He had the what do they call it? Kinesiology tape on the back of his neck. He was hitting the ball. Golfer. Sorry, yeah. He was hitting the ball 20 yards shorter than normal, taking extra clubs into greens. He actually felt probably like what we normally feel like. But he still led the strokes gained off the tee to green, the driving accuracy, all that sort of stuff. Final round 64, and he defeated Wyndham Clark, Scotty Scheffler, and Brian Harmon by 1. First time I think they've had a 1-2 consecutive weeks, as in Scotty Scheffler was 1, Clark 2 last week at Bay Hill, same thing this week at the Players, so amazing. On the Aussie front, Jason Day tied for 35th, Adam Scott 45th, and Minwoo Lee 54th. So not so much of a great outing for the Aussies. Did you see Ryan Fox, by the way? Went
hole in one.
Eagle on 16, hole in one on 17. Back-to-back eagles.
Nice.
And then he unfortunately missed the cut, though. So
that
was a tough one.
He had back-to-back eagles and missed the cut.
Yeah, he shot 4 over the second day, unfortunately. It is what it is. But as you mentioned, Cameron John, 3-shot win over Daniel Gale. Down at the National. Congratulations to all the staff down at the National. I'm a member down there, and it is a phenomenal facility. Josh Younger tied for 3rd, which actually got him inside the top 50, didn't he? Yeah. On the order of merit, so doesn't have to go back to Q school.
I think he was playing on a injury card. He got a lot of starts because of an injury. So to do that and get into the top 50, it's a mighty effort.
Yeah, very impressive. And also Aaron Townsend finishing in a tie for 3rd as well. The order of merit was decided. Kazuma Kobori. The 3 DP World Tour cards was Kazuma, Daniel Gale, and Brett Colletta. Matty Griffin just missed out, unfortunately. The top 50, the bubble. We always love to see those bubbles, right? Yeah. Darcy Brereton finished 50th.
Good on you, Darcy.
Right on the bubble. But Jack Monroe, 51st. Kit Biddle, 52nd. Aaron Townsend, 53rd. He almost made a late run, didn't he?
Yeah, stiff boys. Bad luck.
Asian Tour, they had the International Series in Macau. I don't know if you saw, I watched a bit of the highlights just trying to catch up on this.
Yeah, just a little
John
bit.
Catlin shot 59, 3rd round. First, ridiculous. 59 on the Asian Tour.
It's an 11 under 59.
11 under 59.
So
does it really count?
No, it doesn't really count. Doesn't count.
Asterix. Taylor Gooch should be happy. But he defeated David Puig, who shot a final round 60, by the way, on the second playoff hole.
Good player, this Spanish kid.
He is. He's winning a lot of stuff. He plays for the Fireballs, I think, on the Live Tour. But Catlin missed a 5-footer on the final hole to win, and then he got an amazing break on the first playoff hole. Ball was going out of bounds, hit something, stopped, stayed on a cart path, and then all of a sudden he's got to drop it next to the green. It was one of those TIO reliefs that you really love.
Yeah.
You know, he was 40 yards away, now he's 20 yards away. Thank you very much. But ended up winning on the second playoff hole. Really good week for Lucas Herbert. Just finished 2 shots back of the playoff in third position. New Zealand's Ben Campbell finished 5th, Maverick Antcliffe 10th, and Travis Smythe, Ping's Travis Smythe, 14th. So he just plays so well up there in Asia, doesn't he? Playing some very good golf. On the Challenge Tour, they were in India for the Delhi Challenge, and Ping's John Parry shot a 65, coming from 3 shots back to win. Young Hayden Hopewell finished tied for 17th, the West Australian, so good result for him. And finally, on the Epsom Tour, they were in Florida, where Taiwan's Jessica Peng had a 1-shot win over American Lindsay McCurdy for her first win on the Australasian front. New Zealand's Fiona Zhu. I'm mentioning all the New Zealanders today because I was just in New Zealand. She finished tied for 15th, and Cassie Porter tied for 23rd, and that is your Ping global results for this week.
Also mentioning an awful lot of Ping players as well, Nick, because they are killing it.
Certainly are. That driver, it's leading the way.
Yeah. All right, what's the feedback, boys?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Only the good stuff.
What's that look on your face for, Mark?
Just the good stuff.
Well, there's a bit of a whack for you guys.
Another one.
Top 5 last week on the lefty-righty conversation. Yeah. Andrew Huntley reckons we missed one.
Who? David
Graham.
Never saw him play left-handed.
Turned pro left-handed, won 2 majors right-handed.
Correct weight.
There you go. And now, in all due respect to David Graham, it was a shocking right-handed swing. No, he was a grinder, that's for sure.
I reckon I might have seen him hit some left-handed shots. Once upon a time at the Australian Masters when it first started, I was a member at Huntingdale.
Did he swing it better than right-handed?
Well, not that I can remember. I was a kid, but they used to do these on Saturday nights. They would get all the big stars and they would do clinics on Saturday night.
Well, for kids?
For everybody.
Or for anyone?
For everybody. So,
wow.
Third round had finished, and then the announcement would go down to the driving range for the clinic, and Greg Norman was there, and Sevi Ballesteros would hit 1 irons over the back fence off one leg, and then change the other leg and hit a 1 iron over the fence off one leg. The guy called Lindsay Stephen, late Lindsay Stephen, he used to do these amazing impressions of players. He'd do David Graham, and David Graham would laugh. And then I remember Bernard Langer was showing people how to spin a golf ball. He was fizzing. I just couldn't believe the spin he would get. But David Graham, I can remember him hitting some shots left-handed and wowing everybody, because no one had, at that stage in the 80s, no one had ever seen that before.
No.
Somebody actually hit 5 irons one way and then grab a left-handed 5 iron and hit it just as well. And it was pretty rare.
He was one of the best ball strikers as well that you'll ever see, and the ultimate competitor. I mean, his golf swing, it actually reminded me very much of Raymond Floyd.
Yeah.
And both of those players, they were so gritty.
He had the same rhythm as Raymond Floyd. And he had one of the most storied final rounds of a US Open ever. I think he missed the first fairway by an inch or two, and then hit every other fairway and every green on the day.
Marion?
Marion, yeah. It's one of the greatest ever US Open rounds.
You mentioned Kabori before. Ashley Washington has written in and said, I reckon Kabori right now is the best putter on the planet.
I think he could be right. I don't see anyone with a stroke as good right now.
Yeah, and by the way, he's doing it when he wins. There's probably a few guys doing some good putting when they're not hitting it so well and finishing 25th. But he's doing his putting when he's winning tournaments. So, there's merit in that for sure.
Paul Bolster was watching your coverage on the weekend at the National, Mark, and he said, how good did the National look at the weekend? Amazing.
Yeah, the Nash is good.
Always does, doesn't it?
I'm sure they did some drone shots and that.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, they are stunning.
Although they showed the body of water next to the National, and at first they called it, I thought it was Port Phillip Bay, but it was Bass Strait. And I said next stop was New Zealand.
How are you going?
Right? And then I changed it to next stop being Tassie, and now I got that much feedback that I actually went to a map. If you go perpendicular from the National, the next stop is actually King Island. So I got it all wrong. I apologise.
Now, we were talking about New Zealand courses a couple of weeks ago. Well, I think it might have been last week as well. And Brad Dalton reckons we missed a really good one. The Bay of Islands course is what he's talked about.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know. No, the thing is, in the Bay of Islands, there's a bunch of golf courses there. I think he might mean the one at Kerry, which is...
That's it, Curry Cliffs. I think there's a course at Curry Cliffs,
Yes.
and it's in the middle of the Bay of Islands, and it is a beauty.
So it's just north of Paia.
That's it.
Which is a beautiful part of the world. You know the thing about the Bay of Islands too, a lot of the houses there get their mail delivered by boat.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Actually, that's the course I want to play. So I want to play Tara Iti, and let's play Curry Cliffs as well.
Cliffs. Okay.
I think we need to have a Talk Birdie-Tome tour. Let me just go to work on that.
We might need to get a helicopter sponsor.
Talk
to take us around.
Birdie-Tome, Tara Iti, Curry Cliffs,
Te Arai.
tournament. We could have a 4-rounder.
Ooh.
A 4-rounder would be good.
Whilst we're in New Zealand, I don't know I'm not sure how to say this name. I apologise in advance. Geert Kaertz, I think might be the name.
That'll do us.
Geert has said, I was a caddy at Tara Iti when I lived in New Zealand, and no words or images can even come close to describing that place.
That's the other great thing about those two courses, Tara Iti, Te Arai, the caddies. They're unbelievable. So you have a caddy with you the whole way around. So you just walk, away you go. There's no motorised carts, anything like that. It's walking courses. And a lot of these people are local New Zealanders, but a lot of them from the US and around the world. And they caddy at Bandon Dunes, come on down and do the New Zealand stint.
That's amazing.
And then they go on to wherever they go from there. So
good
brilliant.
Matt Swanee wrote in, old mate Keith Pelly, who you talked about last week, did leave his mark on the game. He sold the DP World Tour down the river just as badly as Jay did, and turned it into a feeder tour for the PGA.
I'm not necessarily against the feeder tour. I mean, when I was dreaming of being a professional golfer of note, I would have loved to have started at the European Tour and finished up on the US, as Nick did. I think a lot of people do, and I think a lot of Europeans do. And there's no doubt about that, because there are lots of Europeans playing. I mean, who's the French dude? Pavon. I mean, he's now, I think he's either first or second on their FedEx Cup chase.
Top 5 anyway.
And he did that off a top 10 exemption. So I know it's a feeder tour to the PGA Tour, but it's kind of where you want to end up.
Oh, I've got a course for your top 5 you missed. I'm just going to say it now, by the way, to play, because one of my opponents in the member guest was Pascal. I didn't catch his last name, but he was he heads up the French Golf Federation, and he's a member at Montfontaine.
Oh, that one's unbelievable.
I've never been there. So. You played it?
No, I've only seen pictures, but
well, top 6
apparently it's unbelievable.
Hang on, what's it called?
Montfontaine.
Okay. Right. It's a bit of a Heathland course.
It looks that way. I've seen pictures,
It's a beauty.
We put a poll up this week on Live Adelaide, just asking people's plans. Are they going to watch? Are they going to go? Do they care? Whatever it may be. I'll give you the poll results in a moment. Buffalo Ben wrote, it's more impressive to win a 4-round event with 156 guys and a cut than a 3-round event with 48 blokes. That's a fact. So obviously not a Live fan.
Not a Live fan, and I agree with your sentiment.
Go You Good Things said, I'm going to be there again for 3 days, the entire 3 days.
Yeah.
And Daniel, who is a Live fan, so he's the opposite to Buffalo Ben, Daniel has said, this is everything we should have had in Australia. The PGA Tour kept taking away all the star power, left our tournaments in ruin, but finally, a tour that contracts players to events, meaning we know who is coming to play. This model makes sense.
What's his name?
Well, Daniel.
Daniel, stay tuned, Daniel, because we're organising a round table with James Sutherland, with Gavin Kirkman, with Karen Lunn, and you and I.
Beautiful.
We're getting rid of you for the...
Okay.
No.
Didn't know that, but that's good.
Sorry, Dan, but we're getting rid of you for the round table. That's in the middle of being organised.
Fantastic.
Stay tuned.
Okay, you want the poll results?
Yes, please.
The question was this. The Live Adelaide event was a real spectacle last year. It's back in a few weeks. What are your plans? 8% said, I'm hoping to go. 17% said, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
17% said, Live's not for me.
Yeah.
And 58% said, I'm going to be watching on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was massive down here last year. It was their biggest event of the season, and they just need to replicate that somehow for the rest of their events.
I've got friends who went, and it wasn't the best golf event they've ever been to. It was the best sporting event they've ever been to.
Yeah. Brady said, hi guys, enjoy the pod. Any tips on how to avoid choking every time I'm on a good score or I'm beating my mates? I tend to cough it all up. How do you guys handle choking?
See, I would like to give a tip on choking, but I was a world champion. So over here, Nick.
You let strokes gained in
choking.
Don't worry, I gagged a few away myself for sure. But the best thing, I'm sorry, not the best thing, but the how you have to process it in your mind is really to take the result out of play, because that's what choking is you start losing your breath pretty much. It's the old adage of feeling as though you're being gagged. So the shortness of breath, the nerves, and for me, I always say, look, pressure is a made-up word because you're thinking about a result, and the result is a negative one, obviously. You're worrying about what may or may not happen, and usually it's bad things that come. So the best thing to do is trying to bring your mind back into the present. How you do that is really up to yourself. For myself, I used to focus on breathing. I used to do like a body scan technique. I always found that great, where I'd do 7 breaths over my entire body, start at the top of the head, work my way down. And after the 7 breaths, 2 things happen. You're not worried about choking or worried about your result or the score because you're thinking about breathing, okay? And number 2 is you feel much more relaxed because you've done some nice slow breathing for about 10 to 15 seconds. So that's a really good little thing to do there. And then every shot, just treat it on its merits, and the result will be the result.
Can I give you a little story about what an AFL coach did for his players once? Alan Jeans, legendary coach, used to coach the Hawks. He had this long plank of wood, and at training, he got everybody to walk over the wood. And, of course, it's pretty easy when that plank of wood's on the ground. He went upstairs, he put it up, he said, pressure is only about consequences. You think about the consequences, that makes walking this plank of wood difficult. No player went across, of course. It was just a demonstration. Yeah. He said, but I think the next message was, don't worry about the consequences. Yeah. I just want you to play football. But it's a very good lesson. And that's all pressure is.
The best athletes in the world, they're not worried about the result.
No, they don't
just, Michael Jordan in basketball, he didn't worry about missing a shot. He just tried to make it, basically, and focused on the process. Tom Brady in the NFL, Tiger Woods in golf, you name it.
Yeah. Another one, don't start thinking about your winning speech anytime soon. That's a really bad thing to do. Don't think it's the right thing to do just to get it out of the way like I used to. Just play.
I can second that as well. So.
Final bit of feedback, which is a question for both of you. This is from Greenkeeping Rooster. Hey, Mark. Hey, Nick. They're playing at TPC Sawgrass last week. In my humble opinion, I think TPC is a better layout than Augusta. What do you guys think as to which is the better layout?
No, I think Augusta. Well, I don't know. I haven't played Augusta, but I think Augusta's a better layout. But, my God, both courses just give you what you want in a tournament when you're sitting at home, and that is drama.
Exactly. Augusta, for me, I love the rolling hills, the design through a pine plantation originally, I think? Something like that. Whereas Sawgrass is completely manufactured, and I get it. I mean, it's built for stadium golf and for drama, so they do that job very nicely. It just depends on what you like out of a golf course.
Scotty Scheffler, the first player to win back-to-back titles too in the 50-year history, in the 50th year. So
yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, so did I.
Hey, by the way, before the masterclass, I've realised a tremendously awful oversight.
Oh, okay.
Donald Trump yesterday won the club championship and the senior club championship at whatever his course is called.
Did you leave that out of the Ping Global results, Nick?
How many people were playing out of interest?
One.
I think, to be fair, I think it was the over 75 category of club championship. I think some clubs have the 40 and overs, 50 and overs, 60 and overs. It's a good way of doing it.
I actually think it was, you know what it was? It was the club where only presidents can play.
Oh, is that it?
He was the only one there, I'd say. So.
Yeah. All right, time for the masterclass.
All right, this week's masterclass, Scotty Scheffler. What a ball striking machine this guy is. And if you actually watch him play, you think, how the heck is this guy number one player in the world? His feet are dancing. They're moving all over the place. But the one thing he does exceptionally well is he transitions his weight into the ball beautifully. It's going towards the target. So many amateurs that I see that play, various friends of mine especially, they hang back on that downswing, that transition move. Whereas Scotty Scheffler, he is sliding to the left. I mean, he over-exaggerates the slide, and you see his right foot every now and comes up off the ground and almost goes behind him. Sometimes he spins out, but if he does lose his balance, he loses his balance going forward, and that's the most important thing in the golf swing. It's like throwing a ball. You don't hang back when you throw a ball. You transition your weight through to your target. So a good little drill is the old simple Gary Player step drill, where you hit a shot and you walk out after the ball. That'll get your weight going towards the target. You'll compress the ball a little bit more. You won't chunk the ball. You won't hit behind it or thin it and bounce into the ball because your weight's hanging back. It'll get you going towards the target, and I'll post a video on socials on how to do all that.
Can I add my 2 cents to your magnificent tip, masterclass? A lot of people doing it too. When they try to move their weight to the front foot, if the ball's too far back, it'll never work.
Correct.
It'll never actually work. So if it's not working for you, try to move the ball a little bit forward, and that may help.
I like that as well. Yeah, that's good. It's hard to go forward when you got to hang back to get.
Yes, when you got to hang back
get
to
behind the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, that's it, guys. It's good to have everyone back in the same room. Nick, glad you got back safely.
Certainly did. And
thanks for the hat.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Yeah, maybe the hat. Maybe it's next time thing.
Maybe
it's a sore point. Believe me.
Okay.
I don't want a ball marker either. I want a hat.
I was thinking of you when I was having that New Zealand Pinot.
Yeah, I bet.
Gosh.
See you later.
Okay.
Thanks for being part of Talk Birdie to me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. And if you want to be part of the show, drop us a message or comment on the socials. Or you can send an email or leave a voicemail at talkbirdietome.com.au. Thanks to the great team at Ping. They're the best in the business and they'll help you play your best. And the Golf Clearance Outlet. If you're after top quality at prices you won't beat, check them out. golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Talk Birdie to me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.